Hello and welcome to Twistscript Tales, and have we got a tale for you from Stockholm in Sweden. Hello, John. Välkommen.
Hello, guys. Thank you.
Tack hej, John. That's all my Swedish. I've run out of Swedish words now. I apologise for that. The reason why we're talking to John is because John is an engineer, and in Sweden, in Europe, there is a Formula single cylinder class which allows for anything that's got a single cylinder. John has got a very interesting motorcycle that he campaigns. It's come through a number of iterations, and we might talk about where it started from and where it's ended up. But essentially, John has an 1170cc single cylinder supercharged Godzilla of a machine, which, broadly speaking, can be described as a six-stroke motorcycle. John, what sort of insanity has brought you to craft an engine like this? Where on earth did you fall off the ladder, fall out of the baby's pram, and come up with an idea that 1170 cc's as a single-cylinder engine was going to be a good idea? And on top of that, what the hell is a six-cycle motor?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, it all started out really when I was in Kazakhstan 26 years ago working, and got toothache because it was minus 40 degrees cold outside and not much warmer inside for that matter.
So that's why you moved to warm and cosy Sweden.
Yeah, well, we are quite used to the cold here, but my teeth just couldn't take that cold. I ended up going to the dentist, who really couldn't do much for us, apart from microwave machine that they beamed on you. So I got that beamed onto my head to warm. The idea is to warm your jaw up to relieve the pain, but it just gave me more pain in the teeth. So I ended up drinking vodka for 100 days while I was working there. A lot of vodka. That's where the idea came from, in the middle of the night, having a dream.
So you fell out of bed, you bumped your head, and you thought, I'm going to build the biggest single-cylinder motorcycle in your life. So what was your first motorcycle? Was that your first motorcycle? What gave you the taste? I don't want anything this small. I want to go something bigger than anyone else has got.
Well, I mean, I had a very old Honda 50 moped thing when I was a 12-year-old. And then I graduated to a Honda trail bike 250, and then to a Yamaha single-cylinder SR500. That was a great bike to ride on the twisty roads. And then I ended up getting a 1100 Yamaha and Kawasaki 750. But I always liked the singles best.
So when you started racing, what did you start racing when you went to the track?
Well, the first racing was in England as a sidecar passenger on an old Triumph Mogo 750. That was great fun.
Well, there's certainly a degree of insanity in wanting to be a sidecar passenger.
Yeah, it's great fun.
So from a sidecar, you went to the rider's seat eventually?
Well, I started then I moved to Sweden and started racing motocross. After I'd been to Kazakhstan working and came home with this idea to build this special engine, I took a speedway engine, a 500 speedway engine.
Was that an Esso or a Jap or a...
The first one I made was with a Godden English speedway, a little bit like the Westlake. Yeah, I adapted this 500 to have the reed valves on the crankcases and pump up the air to the cylinder head.
Now, this is where you're introducing your concept of the six-cycle motorcycle engine, which is a four-stroke engine with a reed valve on the crankcase. And in a four-stroke, the piston goes up and down twice for each firing, so it has the capacity to supercharge twice the volume into the combustion chamber and go bang. But you were telling me that there was some sort of patent invented way back in Sweden in about, 1912 or something like that, for a twin-cylinder side valve?
Yeah, it was some, I think it was some secret military project. It never got released, but I heard that one was a parallel twin. So possibly like a BMW engine, maybe like a Triumph parallel twin, I don't know. But someone told me that it got thrown out into a container, into the garbage.
Yeah, that would be very sad because it would seem to be a very simple process because in a parallel twin with both pistons rising and falling, you've got two pistons pushing 500 cc's into one 250cc cylinder and you get a 2-for-1 supercharging effect there. And a BMW, it works the same way. And I hope people's heads aren't bursting at this concept because it's rather revolutionary, trying to put a two-stroke bottom end, all sorts of questions of lubrication and oil in the fuel and that sort of stuff come to the fore. But how on earth does it work in a single cylinder, John?
Yeah, well, I have the piston here from my bike. So it's quite big. So what happens is basically the piston goes up, sucks into the crankcase via the reed valve, goes down, presses the air into the transfer pipe where there's a reed valve, a reverse reed valve blocking it. Then it goes up again, sucks again, and presses down. And just as it's pressing down, then you have the firing stroke. It does supercharge, yes, but because there is actually no supercharger or turbo, no external mechanism, it's in the very grey zone that I can keep racing it.
That is fantastic. So that explains to me how that second charge goes in, because you've got that one-way valve in the transfer port, and then when that inlet valve opens, you get twice the capacity going in. So now this new engine, you've actually manufactured this new engine right from scratch. You've made the crankcases, you've made the barrels, and in the head you've gone away from poppet valves to a rotary valve in the head. And you've actually run this on the track. You've had a few teething issues, as one would expect, but you're pretty happy. It's going to end up this new season. What sort of expectations have you got?
Well, as soon as we get released from this corona and can go out racing, then we'll... the cylinder head that I've made is just for interest of rotary valves. I can run with a normal head, although there is one small problem. It's a laid down engine, so the cylinder head is very close to the front wheel. So if this second new head that I've made doesn't work either, well, it will work for a while. If it doesn't last long enough, the plan C is to go for a underhead valve flathead. Of course, they don't exist, but I'll make one.
So essentially a side valve engine.
Yeah, with underhead cams.
And that means that you've got enough wheel clearance. So you're actually going back about, when was the last side valve motor built? 1960s, 1950s. So you're going back about 60 or 70 years in technology to get this Godzilla of a beast to work. But because it's supercharged, it doesn't matter, does it?
No, it doesn't matter.
All right. Well, let's go out into John's garage. Oh, there we go. It is Sweden. We got all those heavy duty coats by hanging on the door.
Here we have the machine. Can you see it?
I can see that, and that is looking very, very special. Now, where do the forks come from, John? That's one of the V-twin Aprilias?
No, it's a Aprilia 125 actually.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe not the best forks, but I got them very cheap.
Well, I just hope they're up to the job. I love your tank. Your tank looks really...
I can always change the forks.
You can, that's right. Your tank looks really nice.
It took a lot of making. A very lot of making. What you can see here is one air filter going into the engine with the throttle body and the throttle position sensor.
All right.
I've got two more reed valve entries. That's one reed valve in. There's one down behind the swinging arm, or in front of the swinging arm, and then I have one underneath the engine as well. So those have to be plumbed up a little bit differently. I have them.
So you've got three reed valves sucking into the crankcase.
Yeah, because we need to reduce the friction. And then we have one big reed valve coming out into the pressure tank, which is the seat. The whole seat is a pressure tank.
Oh, right.
I have a two-stroke oil tank here on the back end.
Your two-stroke oil is what you feed in to lubricate the big end and the little end and the piston?
Yes. So the fuel isn't mixed at all.
No. Okay.
And then I spent quite a lot of time putting these radiators on the sides.
So it's a water-cooled engine?
The cylinder is water cooled. The head's air cooled. The head has the ethanol, so it keeps it cool. Only the cylinder's water cooled.
And tell me, John, how does the oil get sprayed in to lubricate the main bearing?
It comes in on an oil pump into the direct into the crank. This little pipe is the oil into the crank.
All right, so it's fed into the crankshaft and comes out through the main bearing, and then it's distributed to the piston, the bore, and the little end from there by mist.
Yes.
And who made your conrod?
It's Carrillo. Carrillo made the conrod and the piston from my own design.
Oh wow! Yes, they're the go-to people for conrods worldwide, aren't they?
Yeah, they were very interested in the project, so they give me a very, very good price. Here we can see the final drive. It goes through the swinging arm.
Oh, very
into
pretty.
The clutch. You can see the clutch through there.
Yes.
So you just tension the chain once, and that's it.
And the swing arm, is that off a Japanese bike?
It was from a Aprilia 125 as well, but it's savagely changed.
A 125 holding together an 1170 single cylinder. I applaud you on your optimism.
And then we have the Fakir grips, like wire grips.
Yes.
Anti-vibration. Made my own little throttle. And the frame, everything's homemade. And then we have the cylinder heads.
Ah, yes. All the science is in the cylinder head.
This is the first one, the cross style.
Yes.
What happens? You have the air coming in here, coming into the cylinder, and then you turn it around, and then you get the exhaust. The exhausts come out this side, and double spark plugs on this one.
All right.
This is like what Bishop in Australia made these heads for the McLaren, which got banned directly before they even got to run it.
And then it made too much power.
It was incredible, yeah. And then we have the new cylinder head that I spent all last summer making. This is of the Aspin style.
Isn't that a work of art?
Whereas the first head is 1 to 2 driven by the belt drive. This one's 1 to 1, but inside is a two bevel drive cogs, so it does end up 1 to 2 at the end of the day. You have the spark plug.
Yes.
Exhaust. Inlet. And then on the inlet we have 4 injectors. So it's very good flow in there.
That is huge. What size port is that, John?
Oh,
that is
it's
huge.
not actually that big. It's maybe 40 mil or something.
I was going to guess about 40 mil. But for a port, that's a good sized port, because you don't have a valve stem to get in the way of the gas down there, so you're going to get a great flow.
Absolutely no restrictions. What else do we have of interest here?
And so your fuel injectors are to give the sort of flow that you get from a garden hose or a fire engine.
Yes, we have this. We actually have the seat is the air reservoir to even out these pulsed pressures. We have underneath the tank is a massive intercooler.
Oh, wow.
You can see it under here. It might not be necessary to have that intercooler because ethanol likes to run a bit hot. But that intercooler goes all the way under the tank.
Yes, that inlet charge goes on a one giant journey, doesn't it? That's a lot of space and distance that it's travelling.
Yes, it might work better if I didn't have the intercooler on at all, but we'll see what happens. There you can see inside the engine, bit dirty because it's run once.
That is a massive bore. That is fantastic.
And then underneath we have the rear shock absorber bolted onto the engine with a link arm and everything.
That's very, very similar to early Motor Guzzi's and John Britton.
Can you see my little engine number plate?
I do love that engine plate. I can see that. That's a very nice touch, that.
There's a bit of brass in there, yeah?
Yeah, there is. That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's well, it's an amazing thing to be able to turn out such a work of art as this little machine is, and for a thing that's not much bigger than a postie bike, but packing the punch like a V8, you've got a great formula going there, John. That is for sure.
Yeah. You also have a very nice ISR brake on the front here. 6-piston brake, so that might help to stop it a little bit.
That's right. So what sort of weight is the whole machine?
I think we're up in like 165 kilos now.
That is about the right money for a very fast mid-size race bike these days. Not many get down below that sort of weight.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the goal in the beginning was like 120 kilos, but, you know, I ended up... some things are made in aluminium, but the seat unit is steel plate. I had to make it out of steel plate because I can't weld aluminium.
I might be able to come over there and help you with that.
One of my old workmates, Patrick, he's a welder. He welded me aluminium stuff for us.
He's done a nice job on the cover there. That's the clutch cover, is it?
Yeah. I tried to make the clutch cover to match the rest of the bike, so it's got some angles in it, maybe unnecessarily, but it's got a bit of form about it.
Yeah, it's a nice bit of styling. You've done well there.
And then I was going to weld the frame myself, but I thought best leave it to a professional. So a guy called Jorma, he welded the frame for us.
It looks very Ducati, the frame.
Well, just because it's just the way Ducati build theirs, isn't it? And it only has 2 fastening points to the engine, so very easy to take the engine out. You can't see them for the radiator, but there's only 2 bolts holding the engine in.
Oh, fantastic! So the frame is a purpose-built frame. It's not a modified frame from another machine.
No, it's purpose-made. The frame is made around the engine.
Is the frame steel or aluminium?
It's steel. It's a 2.5 millimeter thick hydraulic pipe.
Oh, wow. Very strong.
Yes, it'll take a bit of braking, I think. Oh, we have a little thumb brake here as well. Because
right.
There's no gearbox, I didn't want to have the rear brake cluttering up the back end. All it is the throttle and everything's on the handlebars. I've got a mate that only has 1 leg, so he'll be able to ride it okay.
That's good. Well, when you're racing, you're really only using the front brake most of the time. The rear wheel's either doing all the driving or up in the air when you've got your nose down coming into that corner.
Yeah, well, if she does go up in the air, it's really quick to press on the thumb brake to get it back down. This article out of a bike magazine in England last year.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that article, and they did a fine write-up on it.
Yeah, very nice.
That is a great picture. It is a very good-looking race bike, John.
Thank you.
John, I want to thank you for sharing your tale with Twist Grip Tales of this monster 1300cc, 1170cc single cylinder motorcycle race bike journey. It's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that story. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on John's extraordinary venture with his single cylinder. And we'll be watching next time. In fact, we've got another story coming up about John, another engineering amazing story coming up about John very soon. So stay tuned for that in Twist Grip Tales in a coming episode. Thank you very much, John, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Soon the rain's coming here. Ready?
Yeah.
Ready, Sophie?
Yeah.
Stop that.